Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Gary here. It's a Tuesday. It's the 5th. I said yesterday was the 5th, but it wasn't. It was May the 4th. You ever seen that thing online where it says, May the 4th be with you? So today's Tuesday the 5th. Today's episode's going to be called True Friends. Got me thinking about this because it's a kind of an interesting episode. It makes everybody listening to this really think really hard. If you can count on one hand how many true friends you have that will have your back, that will take a baseball bat for you, that is a ride or die type person, you're fortunate. I'll bet globally, who's ever listening to this program right now, I'd say, I'm going to guess that maybe 90% of the people out there can't count 2 people out of 5 that they can count on. And family is not included, by the way. Family is not included. These are friends that are not blood. If you can count on one hand how many true friends that'll have your back, hell or high water, you're blessed. You're fortunate. Call it whatever you want. And it got me thinking about this because a week from tomorrow, I'm going to have arthroscopic surgery on my shoulder. It's an outpatient thing. And my brother's he's going to help me out. They said to me over a month ago when I scheduled this thing, you need someone to be there for 6 hours while you're being worked on. For procedures only going to take 45 minutes. But they got to take me. It's going to be 6 hours. Why? I don't know. I don't ask. And you need someone to wait for 6 hours and take you home and stay with you for 24 hours to make sure you're okay. Now, they're going to knock me out with Propofol. I've had Propofol. I come out of that real easy, but they don't care. They want someone to stay with you for 24 hours. Had my brother not been able to do that for me, or my sister, because my sister's still working full time, in my mind frame of in my head, who could I rely on would be one guy. But unfortunately, the procedure falls on a vacation he's taking where he's leaving town. So I couldn't fall back on him. But that's it. One guy. I have 2 other really close friends, but they're friends of convenience, where they really wouldn't have my back if the chips were down. And you got to think about this. And when I mean have your back, here's an example. I'm going to lay it out for you. This is a really good example. This happened about, I'm going to say 12 years ago. It was 2 stores before the last one I worked in, before I retired. There was a guy, he was my boss, he was my meat manager, took all of his coffee and cigarette breaks with the chef. Every store has a chef. Not every store, the big stores have a chef where they cook demos all day. These 2 guys were like thick as thieves. They went out drinking after work. They did stuff outside of work that didn't require drinking. They took all their breaks together. He would come looking for my boss. My boss would go looking for him and say, hey, let's go, coffee break, cigarette break. They were inseparable. You thought that they were joined at the hip. And they've been at each other's house. They've gone to football games and baseball games together. They've done stuff together. And this went on for 3 years that I knew them. This one particular day, the chef who was with our company for, I don't know how long he was with the company, not nearly as long as my meat manager was accused of eating something that he had bought from the deli but didn't actually pay for it yet, but on the way to paying for it, he was eating on it. And the company caught him eating on it, and that's technically stealing. That goes for any company, coast to coast. If you're eating on something before you pay it, that's stealing. They called him out on it. They said, hey, we need you to come upstairs and talk about this. And my meat manager was with him when they were walking together. All my meat manager had to do was to have his back and say, hey, look, he was going to pay for it. I'm a witness. He was going to pay for it. He had the money in his hand. He was getting ready to pay for it. That would have saved this guy's job. But the meat manager, his buddy, his good old buddy, ride or die. Oh, I don't know anything about nothing. I don't know. They called him upstairs too. I don't know. Yeah, we were going to take a break together, but I didn't know he was going to buy anything from the deli. Threw him under the fucking bus. And I don't think he did it out of malice. What he was looking at was 2 years from that time that he was called in the HR office to defend or not defend this chef buddy. He was 2 years away from retiring with 40 some odd years with the company and a fat pension to look forward to. And he wasn't risking any of that bullshit to expose himself in the middle of something that would cost somebody their job. I don't know if you would ask me to do the same thing. I don't know if I would have had his back. You know, I'm sitting on a nice fat pension myself. You know, would I have? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. If it was someone like my buddy Roger, I'd have Roger's back. Because Roger, most people don't know who he is. I know who he is. He is my best friend. He'd have my back. But there's not very many. Like I said, I had 2 other convenient friends that are just friends out of convenience that are at the moment friends at the moment. I call them, we talk on the phone a couple times a month. Hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. We talk about horse racing, blah, blah, blah. But they aren't real friends. I'll give you, so to make the long story short, the chef wasn't fired, but he was moved from that store to another store. They didn't want to make an example of him because he had a bunch of years with the company. And he was good at what he did. But the meat manager never had his back. Crickets. And honestly, I don't think that it would have been a big deal if he had his back with that position by saying, hey, he was going to pay for it. I was right there. He had the money in his hand. That's all he had to say. What the meat manager was thinking was, fuck, I got nothing to do with this. I don't want to expose myself. I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm retiring in 2 years. He was being a weasel about it. When all shapes and sizes of it, he wasn't at risk of losing his job, but he wasn't a friend. People will sell you out, man, like that. Like I said, true friends are few and far between. Family will have your back at all times. If you can trust family. I mean, I don't ask close personal friends to do stuff for me. Only because I have 2 siblings that live here in Cincinnati. But if I was living in South Florida, or if I was living in Arizona, or wherever, if I decided to move and go where it's going to be warm, because that's going to happen eventually. I'm going where it's going to be warm. I'm done with these fucking winters. Although I'm done with the fucking winters. Then I'd be strapped. I'm like, well, then I would have to hire a nurse or a medical transportation to and from a doctor's office. I'm sure that goes on. But again, count on your hand how many people on one hand you can count on one hand that are ride or die energies that will do anything, that will eat through a concrete wall for you, have your back 100%. In risking exposing themselves on the job and getting in trouble. Or having your back and being a witness for something at work. You can't trust anybody. I don't like to quote my father because my father and I never had any kind of a relationship. He was a dickhead. To me, he was. That's another story completely. But I quote him on this one. He said, you can never trust anyone, including your wife. He said, you can't trust anyone, and if you can trust your wife, you're lucky. The only people you can trust in this world are your siblings and your parents. And he's right. In hindsight, now that I'm older and I'm 66 years old, yeah, he was right. Absolutely. I mean, I could trust Roger because Roger would have my back. But there's 2 other guys that I talk to. I can't. So after this program today, just sit with yourself, whether you're driving on the road or you're working already or you're sitting at home or you're just getting ready for bed or whatever you're doing. Think to yourself, how many people are ride or die for you? You know? And before I get off here, I'll give you one more scenario. If you're watching this program and say, well, I don't have anything coming up, Gary. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think I got some pretty good friends. Do this. Create a story. Say, and you could use this. Say, let's say everyone that you work with at work, you have friends at work, and everyone has friends at work. Say, work quits off at 5 o'clock. Say to one of your friends that you think is a friend, a really good friend, and give them 2 days notice for this. So on Wednesday, say to them, oh, hey, Friday, and you're chumming, having a coffee break with one of your so-called friends. Say, hey, on Friday at 5:30, I got to drive over to Tri-County, which, let's just say from where I live, is about a 35-minute ride with traffic. I got to drive to Tri-County and drop my car. It's going to need some transmission work. Can you meet me out there and drive me home? Can you meet me out there at 5:30 and drive me home, knowing they get off at 5 o'clock with you? Give them 2 days notice. And you ask them point blank, eye to eye. If they give you any kind of if they give you any kind of like that, I got to check my schedule. Well, I don't know. If they give you anything like that, cut them off. They're not your fucking friend. And be done with them. But Gary, we take coffee breaks together. We talk about relationships together. They're not your fucking friend. Hello, they're not your friend. They're not your fucking friend. Try that and see how many ride or dies you have at work. You give them 2 days notice, and it's fictitious. It's not gonna happen. But you want to see if they have your back. And then like a day before, say, hey, by the way, my car doesn't need any work after all, but thanks for the offer. Thanks for helping me out. Thanks for saying you'd help me out. Try it. If you really want to know who has your back, do it something as simple as you got to take your car and you need a ride. That's all you got to say. That's all I got. Think about it. Think about it. You'd be fortunate if you had one good friend. One. That's it. That's all I got. It's raining here in Cincinnati today, and that's good, because I like it when it rains. I'm going to go out for a walk. Fuck it. I got to walk. Take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks for stopping by, looking at my content. Peace out.